celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
Another stellar show on the way. It looks like our hero of the week does not know that he's the hero of the week yet. So we'll... Not going to tell him, but
cool, a surprise.
Yeah. This guy has done some fabulous things.
He's amazing.
You may have already heard of him. Joel Silverman will also be joining us, the author, with some more about his color coding your dog. I really don't get it.
He does training by the color of your dog.
What if you're colorblind?
I don't know.
Okay.
What if your dog has multiple colors?
Yeah. We'll have to see how he does it.
Brindle. Also, this is very cool. We're going to be talking to a lady whose dad invented and founded a company that has a GPS microchip. And this is the first of its kind, a microchip with GPS in it so that you can know where your dog is at all times.
You know, and I want to correct you because I think it was her mother.
Her mother invented it?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Her father. It was her mother came up with the idea.
We should be talking to her mother. Well, I'm just saying.
I know.
Hey, it's a cool little family, mom and dad and daughter promoting it all. Looks like it's going to be big business for them. I'd put that microchip in there.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And Tammy, what are you working on?
Well, you know how when we were kids, we're taught when you win, you don't gloat, right? You know, good sportsmanship, all that good sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, there's one pet food company that apparently didn't get the message because they just won in a challenge against another pet company, Blue Buffalo, if you remember that. They got kind of in a bit of a jam because of the way they were marketing their products and putting down their competitors. Well, the company that brought that claim against them and basically won got just a little too excited and now finds itself in trouble.
Uh-oh.
A little too cocky.
This is kind of silly. So this is between Hills, I believe Hills Pet Nutrition and Blue Buffalo, and they've been kind of bickering back and forth about their advertising claims for, I believe, almost a year now they've been doing this.
Yeah.
Probably longer.
It's been a long time, and, you know, Blue Buffalo lost and has to change all how it does things, and it's doing that. But Hills just couldn't quietly go, okay, gee, great, we won. They kind of went just a little wacko.
Well, this kind of thing makes me think about my food and which food I buy. Do I want to spend my money with companies that are bickering with each other? Because really now, neither appeal to me because of all of this.
Yeah, well, see, I disregard the bickering. I want the best food. I don't care what they do.
Well, they're spending too much time bickering.
Yeah, they are, but I want the best.
I know you do. So. Of course.
You know what? If you are the best food, it doesn't matter. If people are going to buy it,
that's
and they can bicker all they want, and if you got a good product, you're going to sell it.
That's right.
While Judy's lining up our first phone calls for today, a story out of Gastonia, North Carolina. A fire started early last Thursday morning. Was reportedly started by a cat.
Uh-oh.
Firefighters.
The kitty's getting the blame.
Yeah.
Yep.
Firefighters got there.
Matches.
Heavy smoke coming from the homes, flames all over. And, well, they did an investigation and figured out the family cat knocked over a candle starting the fire.
People should know
There's
better.
an easy way to prevent that. You don't leave candles lit. I never even use candles in my house because of the cats. I don't.
How do you blame the cat? What if the window was the wind? We blame the wind?
Yeah. Cats don't burn down houses. Fires burn down houses. That's silly. Anyway, the family escaped without injury, but the cat hasn't been seen since the fire erupted. So I don't know if he'll be welcomed back or not. But
he's afraid he's in trouble.
Yeah, I bet he is.
I hope he's okay.
Yes, I certainly do, too. That's kind of a downer story.
Yeah,
Hopefully
it is,
this
Hal.
next call will cheer us up. Hey, Joe.
Hello.
Where are you today?
Kansas City, Missouri.
Beautiful Kansas City. How can we help you?
Well, I have a Rottweiler. She's 7 years old, and she's had some problems of loss of bladder control. And we took her to the vet, and the vet said that she had a bladder infection. So we treated that, but I think she's still having problems with it from time to time.
Okay. And once the infection got cleared up, is she doing anything where she's drinking a lot, or is it just a matter of she's leaking urine?
Well, she just, when she's laying around sometimes, she just has a, loss of bladder.
Okay, you just find like a puddle after she gets up and walks away.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, while she's laying down, yes.
Okay. And is she able to potty and void normally? Like she can go out and squat and she does her business and it seems normal at that time?
Yeah. All of that seems normal.
Okay. All right. And is she currently on any medicines right now?
Just a medicine for the bladder infection.
Okay. All right. Well, if that has been checked out and the veterinarian feels comfortably that there's no current infection that's playing a role, we do commonly see female dogs develop an incontinence problem. And there can be different reasons for that, but one of the more common can actually be a female incontinence, which can be hormone related. So in some cases, it's a matter of just getting them on a medication that helps to strengthen the tone of the sphincter of the bladder. Nice big word, sphincter. And many dogs can do very well with that. And there's a medicine, basically, it's called phenylpropanolamine or Proin, and that is very useful. My own little doggie is on that twice a day. Now, in addition to that, some dogs don't show good enough response with that, so we might look at actually an estrogen compound. And there's one called DES, which can be used either by itself, or sometimes we'll use it along with this other medicine and to try to help that continence problem. But it is, if we feel comfortably that there's not other causes, infection, bladder stones, tumors, or say a back problem, then going down this road with medications can be very useful, and it can actually help them from getting future infections, because a lot of times when they're leaking urine on themselves, they can get little vaginal infections and skin infections, and that just sets up for more and more problems. So I would definitely say, it's time to ask if those medicines might be appropriate for your baby, and very treatable. My little girl, she's been on her, we call her pee pills. She's on her pee pills, and she's actually on both of the urine continence medicines. That's what it took for her, but she does very well, doesn't leak through the night, and she can get up from a seated position without leaving me a little piddle puddle there behind. So I would definitely look into that, Joe, and see if that's helpful for your girl.
This dog, she was spayed about a year ago, and she's had several litters of puppies, and we got her through a shelter. And so I just wonder if that would have effect on it, her being spayed.
In some cases, yeah, we can see some concerns with hormone-related continence. Now, we do know that continence can happen in male dogs as well, so we can't always say it's estrogen-related and hormone-related in that way. But in some situations, yes, it can be hormone-related. So is it something that you say that spaying causes? Yes, possibly, but yes, maybe not. Very treatable if that is the situation, and I would, certainly look into the medication to see if we can help her with that.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll check into that.
Thank you, Joe, for your call today. What do you got coming up there, Tammy? I see you working hard in the newsroom, as usual.
Oh, yeah, and I do have a big old warning to anybody who doesn't play nice with animals. Any abusers or neglectors out there, guess what? The FBI is now on your tail.
Ooh. Okay.
Yep, it's gone big time.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. That probably leads to, we've all known it. That leads to, people who abuse pets end up abusing. Look at, if you read anything about most of the mass murderers, they were all pet abusers. Yep. So I guess that's a really good introduction to finding out who and what these people really are all about.
I look forward to that story. Let's see. So, Judy, you're working on getting prizes for the Facebook contest this week with Allie, our new social media director. What do you got going on there?
Wacky Wednesday.
Wacky Wednesday.
Coming up this week, we've got something called Dog Rocks.
Dog Rocks?
Do you know what Dog Rocks are?
Is it like Pet Rocks?
No. Dog Rocks. You know how when you're
not,
you try so hard to keep your lawn nice and green, and your dog goes out there and pees and makes
gets
those
the little yellow
spots.
stains.
Yeah. Well, this is something that you actually put these rocks in your dog's water bowl, and it changes the pH balance of the urine. Don't ask me how it works. I don't know. You just put it in the water. The dogs drink it, and it changes the pH balance so that they don't make your lawn all yellow.
That's very cool.
Wow.
So if you want to win some of that this week, we need your Wacky Wednesday pictures, because that's the new big thing over at our Facebook page is Wacky Wednesday. Even if you don't have pictures of your wacky pets, come on over and look at some of the wacky pets at Animal Radio.
I need some of them.
Yes.
I need some of that for my neighbor because of the few, every now and then I catch him in the backyard, and he's actually, and I live in a nice neighborhood, but I think he doesn't think anyone could see that he's peeing in the backyard. So, I'll give him some rocks so he doesn't ruin the lawn.
Yeah, we're not talking about a dog here.
Not the dog, him?
No, we're talking human.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
I want to welcome brand new station WNJE. AM 920 in Trenton, New Jersey. That would become our 126th station. It's so nice to have them. Trenton, New Jersey. You know a little bit about Trenton, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Actually, it wasn't real close to where I live, but Trenton's capital of New Jersey.
Is it? I did not know that.
Yes, it is.
What are you going to be talking about later on, anyway?
Degreasers, and how you can use them on your pet to actually, get their coat all nice and clean, and their ears if you're using medication. It's a problem for a lot of people.
Okay.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too. You hear a lot of campaign promises, but in Sri Lanka, a presidential candidate is running on a bovine bill. Well, more specifically, he says that if he's elected, he'll buy a cow for every home on the island. Victor Hedegoda owns a very successful herbal medicine empire and says the cow plan would help fight malnutrition and help people prosper. He says the milk could be made into cheese and butter and sold. He also suggested that people who lived in apartments could make arrangements to have their cow taken care of. Hedegoda is hoping the gift of a cow will move citizens to cast their vote for him. I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio. Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Find us at animalradio.com. Log on, learn more.
I am the family dog, and it's that time of year again. The one where pet parents start looking for Fido-friendly hotels and destinations where Fido is welcome. Make no bones about it. Pets are part of the family, and we like to sniff out new places too. And we hate to be turned away, especially when we're on our best behavior. So we won't be left out in the cold. Be sure to pick up a copy of Fido Friendly Magazine to find the best hotels and destinations where Fido is always welcome. Go online to FidoFriendly.com and subscribe today.
Hey, this is Josh DeMille on Animal Radio. Please adopt a pet.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
It's Animal Radio, celebrating our connection with your pets. You can ask your questions from the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. It's a free download. You can also listen to past shows, current shows, lots of resources. Great app, and it's free.
Hi, Deborah. How are you doing?
Great. How are y'all doing today?
Very good. Where are you?
Good.
I'm actually in Mississippi. I'm in Hattiesburg.
Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Is that home for you?
It is.
It sounds lovely.
It is lovely. Need to come down and visit us sometime.
I'll be right there. I'll be there this afternoon. How do you cook? You cook good?
Oh, absolutely.
Some of that good Southern cooking? I'll be right there.
Southern and Cajun.
Ooh, I love Cajun. Well, how can we help you today? I have Dr. Debbie right here.
Okay.
Well, hi,
Dr. Debbie. I have 4 cats, and I'm about to be transferring all of my pets, including 3 dogs, back to another home to live for a while. Now, 2 of those cats actually grew up in this home, but the other 2 I actually found at the where I'm living now. And so even though they've been here for brief periods of time, they've never been here a long time, but they love to go outside in the daytime. And my fear is letting them go out when they don't really know where they are, because I had one instance with another cat that I found, and I actually brought it here a couple of 3 years ago to live, and it went out one day, and I never saw that cat again.
Yeah. And that's definitely the downside of having the kitties go outside, whether they're getting lost or some neighbor person walking by says, oh, what a cute cat. I'm going to keep him for myself.
I know.
So That is definitely, and I guess in your heart, if for anyone who has a indoor-outdoor kitty, that is one thing that I personally don't like my cats to go outside. I like them to be indoor cats. They live a lot longer that way. But that would be the first decision in your mind, is if we can adapt them to an indoor lifestyle, then we can avoid this whole issue together, altogether.
You know what we have? I just want to jump in real fast. What we have here at Animal Radio, we took this little fence. We made a cattery out of a dog run so they can go outside and be protected, and they can still have that long life because they can live an extra 3 to 5 years if they're an indoor animal, just on the stress factor alone.
Really?
Well, sure. Well, the risk of, infectious disease and, being around moving cars, all those things. So, yeah. So that would be definitely the safest thing that I could advise. But now, so you're going to be moving these kitties back to that home, and do you think you're going to let them outside then?
Well, that's the thing. They love to go outside now. My home where I'm living now is actually on a lake. Even though they can't get down to the lake, they love to go outside and just wander around. There's geese that come, and they like to watch them. And they just they don't stay out all day. They go out and they come in.
Okay.
So it's not like they stay out all day, but I know when they get here that's going to be an issue, and I do not want to lose another cat.
Sure. Well, I'd say the first thing with any move from one home to the other, regardless of indoor-outdoor status, I want to make sure that we have a couple things taken care of. One is I want to make sure all the cats are moved at the same time.
Okay.
2, I want to make sure that home is as settled as it can be before the cats arrive, including furniture, boxes unpacked. The third thing I want to do is I want to make sure that they have a safe haven, a comfort room, if you will. And that would be where we can set up a corner, maybe a separate room, someplace that the cats can, if necessary, be confined, allow them to get very familiar with this area, have all of the favorites of their home life, the hiding areas, the beds, the food, favorite toys, maybe situated over a nice window where we can look outside. We want to have that comfort room ready for them. And preferably when we make a move to a new home, I like to give them a little time there just to settle down while we're getting everything unpacked, and then let them explore the interior of the home. I definitely would not advise to just open the door and let these guys go outside, because they need to learn their interior environment.
Right.
Before we even ask them to venture outside, let them get really familiar. And then a lot of times with kitties, I will use, I love using pheromones, the natural scent hormones that have a calming effect on pets. And this is a great indication when we have something that upsets the home so much. We have a new world for them to explore. So I would look at getting some of the sprays or even the plug-ins of those pheromones, because that might help ease that transition and make your kitty household a little happier during that move.
Right.
So,
now, where do those call? Because I don't think I've ever seen those.
You can get those through pet stores, veterinary offices, even some of the doggy catalogs, the online catalogs, things like that. But you're basically looking for the pheromones. And they look like little plug-ins, like those little Glade plug-ins that you plug into your wall for fresh air. We don't smell anything, but the kitties do. So, look for those.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, and I think we can get these kitties to move, and just make sure you got lots and lots of resources for them, lots of food and water bowls, lots of sleeping and litter box access areas for them. So as they're kind of finding their way around the home, they can work out that social environment as they're getting adjusted.
I assume they're spayed and neutered, right?
Oh, they are. They definitely are. They are taken care of. They have collars. Now, they have not been, what is the other... They have the collars.
Chipped.
They've not been chipped.
Yes.
No, they have not been chipped, but they all have their collars with their names and a phone ID on it.
Yeah, and I'd say any kitty that goes outside, actually any pet really, should have a microchip. But especially for those pets that do venture outside, because you never know when that collar might slip off. In recent weeks, we talked about this with another caller. So yes, I would say microchipping is a safety net that I would get for these babies.
Okay, all right. Very helpful information, Dr. Debbie. I sure do. Thank you.
And think about that
Thank you for the call, Deborah.
Think about that cattery, Deborah. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to come over for some food tonight, and I'll bring some fencing. Maybe we can put something up, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Life can be full of risks. One thing you shouldn't take a risk with ever is your family's health insurance. If you're self-employed or you now need affordable health insurance, you need to make this free call right now and see how the Health Insurance Helpline can help you get it.
800-385-6247. 800-385-6247. 800-385-6247. That's 800-385-6247.
Hi, this is Carrie Ann Inaba from Dance with the Stars. Don't forget to spay and neuter your animals, and you're listening to Animal Radio.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Tammy Trujillo. This is big news. Cruelty to animals is getting its own category in the FBI's federal crime reports for the very first time. Local agencies will also track the crimes and report them to the FBI. Up until now, cases were included in the other offense category because the victims weren't people, they're animals. Now, there's real incentive for law enforcement agencies to pay a lot closer attention to such incidents. And with animal cruelty and neglect included in the report, agencies will be able to allocate officers and funds to handle the cases, track trends, and deploy accordingly. Is your pup an optimist or a pessimist? Research at Sydney University's School of Veterinary Sciences says that dogs, just like people, have those traits. And this could actually be valuable information here. It could dictate whether certain dogs are cut out for certain jobs. A pessimistic dog that avoids risks would be better as a guide dog, while an optimistic, persistent dog would be more suited to detecting drugs or explosives. Optimistic dogs are more likely to be unfazed at failing at tasks and more likely to pick themselves up and try again. Even for dogs who are just pets, all of this could help determine what kind of enrichment activities might help their well-being. So what are they naming their pets these days in the UK? Well, it turns out a whole lot of pet guardians there are so into their favorite TV shows that they're taking names from their pets from the shows. Poppy from Game of Thrones was the most popular name for both dogs and cats for the 4th straight year. Sherlock from that show, also a front-runner. I'm Tammy Trujillo. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
Hi, this is Dean Koontz on Animal Radio. Please spay and neuter your pets.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
And speaking of some pretty amazing technology, our next guest, her mom invented something pretty cool, and we welcome Jan Mooneyham to the radio.
No, that's the mom. We're welcoming Karen Zaxton.
Karen Zaxton, okay.
Yes.
Hi, Karen. How are you?
Well, hi. How are you? Thanks for having me.
So now tell me what your mom invented here.
Well, we have invented the first implantable microchip for pets with GPS tracking capabilities. So it sort of takes the best of both worlds of implantable microchips and GPS collars and puts them all into one device.
Now, it seems like a real gimme. It seems real obvious, like that should have been done years ago, huh?
Yeah, that's what I thought, and that's what caused me to do some research into it. I just wanted to buy one for my pets and found out it didn't exist because of the battery technology. Once you put something inside a pet, it's not like you can go plug them in and, recharge the battery. So until very recently, the battery technology just wasn't there to power these kinds of devices. But now researchers have been able to self-power cardiac pacemakers, and that set us free to go develop this chip.
So what does your mom do as a living? What by trade?
My mom is a retired senior citizen and a really darn good bingo player.
So what was her technical prowess around this?
None. It started out one day where we were worried that the dogs were going to get out while we were on vacation. And every time I go on vacation, there's just this little tiny nagging in the background. I hope they're okay. I hope they're not digging out to come look for me. And we spoke about it, and she said, well, why don't you just get one of those chips that tracks your dog? And I thought, my dogs do have chips in them. I suppose if they got out, they could be tracked. And I was under the impression that the chips that are implanted in the pets now could do the tracking, but they cannot.
Nope.
So I just wanted to buy the chip, and when we couldn't buy the chip, I began doing some research and discovered that the technology was finally there to power the battery, so we went ahead and filed patents, and now we're moving forward.
So who's doing the dirty work?
Well, that would be me.
Okay.
So what we did is we hired a professional. We are making a prototype, and we
Okay.
hired a professional CEO. His name is Wayne B. Norris, And Wayne has 37 years in technology, finance, engineering. He holds 6 nuclear patents himself. So he is your typical techny, nerdy guy who is just drooling to be working on this prototype. He is perfect for the development of the chip. We also reached out to the doctor out of the Georgia Tech University who developed the battery technology, and he's expressed interest in collaborating with us as well. So now he's on board to help develop the battery part of the chip.
I got to ask, because my clients would wonder, what is the safety potentially for implanting something that is a energy-producing element? Have they looked at that?
Great question. Well, it's going to be implanted in similar kinds of biocompatible materials that existing microchips are planted in. And the way we're able to make this work, and I can't give away too much of our trade secrets, but the way it's going to work is the chip is going to be powered off. And that way we conserve battery power. And the only thing it will be doing is giving off little tiny bits of energy that are less than anything we experience just walking around an airport, for instance, that would say, here I am, sort of like a beacon, once every minute or 30 seconds or 2 minutes. And what happens is, once the chip is implanted into the pet, it's off. And then there's a geofence, which is a virtual boundary that is able to be set up by the pet owner. Super simple. It's just literally clicking a couple of points on a map with a mouse, and it draws this invisible barrier. And it's the invisible barrier that then sends out alerts to try to detect the chip. So if the boundary system does not detect the chip, then it sends off alarms, and you get an alert to your phone or your iPad or your computer by text or email or both. And then what you do next is you just simply hit the link that comes in that notification, and it immediately turns on the chip, and the chip notifies you of its location so you can immediately begin tracking your pet. So the way to make this work is to be really stingy with the power, and that's going to make it safe for pets.
How long will it last?
Well, the battery, that's what's so fascinating. The battery is powered by mechanical movement. So simply by the animal moving, it's creating power to generate enough power, I should say, in the battery so that when you go to turn it on, it's on. They're saying that in the next 5 years or so, we're going to be able to set our cell phones down on the seat of the car, and just the sheer vibration of the car moving is going to power the cell phone and recharge it. They're talking about sensors in our shoes and in our hoodies and clothes to power your iPod, your phone. Battery power is completely changing, and they're saying that batteries are going to be a thing of the past.
That'll be beautiful. So this is really not no one can buy this now. It's in a Kickstarter stage where you're trying to raise money to really launch it, correct?
Correct. We know we can build the chip. We've reached out to one of the biggest implantable microchip manufacturers in the world. They're collaborating with us on the actual microchip part. And so we know, based on all the discussions we've had with the engineers, that we can build this chip. We are now going out on Kickstarter. We're going to be raising money to build the chip, and basically people are pre-ordering their microchips during the Kickstarter campaign. And if for some reason we can't build the chip, which we don't foresee, then we'll give them a GPS collar instead.
Okay, which already exists.
Exactly.
But this is a very cool idea. Now, how much money do you need to raise?
We only need $50,000.
That's not a lot of money.
No, it's not.
No, it's not really that much of a big deal. We do know, the doctor from Georgia Tech has developed the battery power. We're working with a microchip manufacturer already, so we're saving costs in that regard. And we've teamed up with one of the biggest app developers who develops apps for companies like Verizon and Motorola. So these aren't the little game apps that we play on our phones that, someone can easily create. This is a major manufacturer of apps, because a lot of this is going to be run by the software.
So it seems like a great idea, and I'd like you to keep us posted as it proceeds forward. And people that are interested in being involved in, getting one of the first chips can donate at your Kickstarter page.
Absolutely.
And how would they get there? It's called Escape Alert, is that it?
Yes, you go to Kickstarter.com, and you can look up Escape Alert, and it'll run through November the 21st. And we're also going to be sending out a press release soon, an announcement. We're going to offer naming rights to the chip. So maybe a large corporation, a pet corporation, could buy the joint naming rights to the chip for $50,000, which would absolutely let us develop the chip.
Do you have any money that I could borrow, Judy? I'm thinking like HAL 9000.
I have
the Animal Radio implantable microchip with GPS.
Yes,
I like it.
I'm telling you.
I think I have 50 cents.
Yeah, that won't do it for now.
No?
Sorry
Okay.
about that. Okay. Keep us posted. Seems like a great idea. And it, of course, because the whole idea is that it's implantable in pets, nobody's thinking about, well, it's also could be implantable in humans.
And kids.
Let's not go there.
Well, you know...
Let's not go there. We're only looking at it for pets. And one of the reasons this is better than a collar is that my friends in the UK and in Ireland on Facebook have communicated that pet theft is a huge problem there. And the problem with a collar, of course, is that the thieves can just take it off.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, well, keep us posted. Sounds like fun. Will you make sure to follow up on this, Judy?
I will.
Find out how this goes. When does the Kickstarter campaign end?
November the 21st.
Oh, just right around Thanksgiving. Should be a nice Thanksgiving for you.
We sure hope so. And thanks for having me on. We really appreciate it. We're really excited to, hopefully leave a legacy and really make a difference for animals.
We're going to head back to the phones.
Kind of interesting how a human pacemaker technology can lead to something for pets.
Yeah.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing. If you've written a book, they can help you through the process, cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If they decide to publish your book, your work ends, theirs begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art. Plus, get your book printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble, and in bookstores across the country. They even help promote your book. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, or even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. And don't forget to ask about audiobooks. We do all of this for you. Call today for your free writer's guide packed with tips, tricks, and templates to help you finish what you started.
800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. That's 800-215-6815.
Hey, this is Big Ant from Rescue Inc. Remember, spay and neuter your animal, and abusers are losers. Now back to Animal Radio.
Oh, you do the moon dance so well.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Very talented you are.
I've been practicing.
Judy has been scoring all kinds of great gifts for you for the big Facebook Wacky Wednesday contest that Allie, our new social media director, has just started. And they're having lots of fun with this. I don't know if you've had a chance to head on over on a Wednesday and check out these Facebook pictures of some pretty wacky pets.
I love the pictures.
If you happen to have a picture of a wacky pet this week, you could win dog rocks, which they're kind of weird. They lower the pH in your dog's urine so that you don't leave stains on the grass. You know, those orange stains when they pee around. But they also say that it takes out impurities of water and does a lot of great things. So if you'd like to win this week, upload your Wacky Wednesday picture, if you will, at our Facebook page. We get lots of calls here about litter box issues. In fact, that's probably one of the top 3 calls that we get about cats. Yeah. Either they're not using them or one thing or another. And I just saw your brand new blog. By the way, Dr. Debbie does an amazing blog about animals, and we'll link to it from animalradio.com. But I see this week you're talking about building the perfect litter box, what your cat wants you to know.
It's what your cat wants, not what you want. And that's what we got to differentiate, because most people set up the cat's litter box with their needs in mind and not the kitty's. So my blog basically addresses what kind of things do we need to look at that the cat wants. Everything from the size. Too many cats have small litter boxes. We need one that's about 1.5 times their body length. Can't squeeze into those little things. And then also we consider the view. What are they seeing when they're in the box? Most cats want to know what's coming and going by their area, so they don't like being closed off. They don't like having a lot of traffic behind their backside while they're trying to do their business. It's really kind of just keeping in mind what they are wanting.
Now, we put this cover on it to keep the litter from coming out. Is that bad? Do they feel trapped in there?
Depends on the kitty. Some cats that are really timid and nervous, they like that kind of privacy. But for the average kitty, they don't like it. It's kind of, I equate it to that of touching the walls of a porta potty. Sure. I'm like, I'm not going to do anything that makes me touch the side of those things. So, cats can feel the same way about entering an enclosed space. So, you just got to kind of change it for the kitty. And a lot of people put their litter boxes right next to the washer and dryer or some other appliance, and it can give off heat and vibrations that can be an aversion for many kitties, too.
How many litter boxes should the average house have that has, let's say 3 kitties or 4 kitties?
Well, the general rule is 1 more litter box than the number of kitties. So if you had 3 cats, we'd want 4 litter boxes. But some of the most important things, if you have a multi-level home, you definitely need to have boxes on multiple levels, even if you have only 1 cat, because there may be times when the urge hits when they're upstairs versus downstairs, or something might change in the environment where they don't want to go down to the next level.
So putting all 5 litter boxes in a row next to each other.
A lot of people do that. Well, I've got 5 litter boxes. There they are.
And it's funny. I had cats that only one would use one of the select boxes, and then the other box they both would use. So they do have preferences. There is a little bit of kind of possessiveness about that, and you have to respect that and give them those opportunities and make sure they have the ability to go. Some cats won't go through certain hallways to pass another cat or a dog that might be in the area, so you have to give them opportunities elsewhere in the house.
How much litter should we put in? Because I know that's so expensive. The clumping litter these days, you could spend $70 on a bag.
Yeah. Well, this is where more isn't necessarily better. And the ideal height has been figured out to be about 2 inches of litter. And some cats actually like less. Some like kind of scratching down to the bottom of the litter pan and feeling that smooth sensation. So you have to kind of play with it for your individual cats. And the general consensus overall is most cats do prefer the clumping, fine texture of the clumping litters, but it does vary. So you have to kind of find what works for your cat. Clay, some of the natural biodegrading litters. It just really depends on what your kitty likes.
I actually use carpet in one of my litter boxes because that's what my cat likes. So I put in a piece of carpet for her, and she uses it. She won't use the regular litter.
Oh, why doesn't she just pee on the carpet then?
She doesn't.
But that's what she was doing, so that's how she fixed that.
Oh,
so
that's clever.
And she climbs in the box, and it's got the texture she likes, and she climbs in, and it's carpet, and she uses it.
Boy, we really have to adapt for our cats, don't we?
Absolutely. And, you got to keep that litter box clean no matter what. So you're going to go through a lot of carpet.
Oh, I
that's
do.
That's what you're using.
Anytime somebody gets rid of carpet that's still usable, I get it, and then I sit out there with my X-Acto knife, and I cut up all these little squares and have stacks of it. So, yeah, I go through every couple of days I have to put in a new piece of carpet.
What a glamorous life.
Yeah. And if you got litter, you're going to have to scoop preferably once to twice a week. If you have 1 cat, more cats, you're going to need to be scooping more frequently.
You just showed me a picture of this cute little 4-month-old kitten that you had in this morning. What was he in for?
Oh, it's really kind of a cool, interesting case. And this little kitten, 4 months old, had scabs, crusts, and sores on the ears, face, nose, and on his toes, right where his nails are. And we biopsied him and diagnosed him with a kind of unusual immune condition called pemphigus foliaceus. Unusual in a kitten, that is. And we do see it in adult dogs and cats sometimes. But it's really kind of interesting. It's the immune system. It's an autoimmune disorder. And sometimes it can be triggered by some things like different types of drugs. There are some flea tick products and some sulfa antibiotics that have been known to cause these type of things in dogs and cats, but it's usually treated with steroids, so hopefully we'll get this guy under control and hopefully be able to wean him off of it. But it's just very interesting, and I think that's one thing a lot of people, this cat was actually, people were concerned it maybe had ringworm or some other type of skin condition, and so if your dog or cat has scabs, crusts on the ears, the bridge of the nose, it really should be evaluated. Don't assume it's something else and start treating it, because obviously if we treat it for ringworm, we'd be wasting our time and putting this kitty through a lot of trouble here.
Hi, this is Iron Chef Kat Cora on Animal Radio. Please adopt a pet.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. That's 800-215-6815.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
Another stellar hour. This hour's hero, somebody who's been on the show many times, does not know that he's going to be the hero. I don't believe. By the way, if you know someone that's going above and beyond the call of duty for animals, it could be a animal, a single animal, or lots of animals, send Judy an email, your voice, at animalradio.com. Let her know who's doing good work and nominate them for our Hero Person of the Week. And a few minutes ago, we were talking about all the great events that are happening. And the Bow Wow Brunch Cruise at the Helen Woodward Animal Center. This is really cool.
Awesome.
Bring your pup along and enjoy some great food and fun out on the water. And it all goes to the Helen Woodward Animal Center. That's a great center doing great work in the San Diego area. And in fact, from the center, we have on the phone the top dog there, Mike Arms. How are you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good. How are you today?
Well, I'm thinking the last time we talked now, there's been a lot of brain cells since then, so it's hard for me to remember. And I'm thinking the last time we talked might have been about almost 10 years ago.
No, it hasn't.
Has it been that? Well, and it's always fun talking. Since then, the last time you were on, the last couple of times, you told a story that I want you to tell again. I know you probably hate telling this story over and over and over, but it is such a moving and emotional story, and for brand new listeners, I want them to hear it. Please tell our listeners how you got involved with saving animals.
Sure. Well, it all started way back in the late 60s, and I'm originally from Kentucky, and that's not where I wanted to be. I didn't want to be a farmer. I wanted more out of life, so right out of school, I just went to New York, and I figured that's where I was going to make my conquest. And the fellow that was giving me the interview at this employment facility, said, well, you're from Kentucky, you must like animals. And I figured he's a genius. He saw a picture of a horse somewhere on a calendar, just assumed everybody from Kentucky likes animals. And I said, well, animals are okay, get on with the interview. And he said, how would you like to work for the ASPCA? Well, I didn't know what that was. And he explained it was a place that takes care of unwanted, mistreated animals. Now, I want you to know that the ASPCA is a much different place today, nothing like it was back in the late 60s. But back in the late 60s, after I accepted the position, I found out in a very short period of time I didn't want it. In 7 months, I lost 25 pounds. The ASPCA back then was killing 140,000 animals a year. Mm. There was no discrimination. Made no difference. The cutest 8-week-old puppy, 8-week-old kitten, most magnificent golden retriever I ever set up. Made no difference. The holding period back then was 24 hours. If nobody adopted or claimed the animal in 24 hours, they were routinely killed. Mm. And they were killed by a method of high-altitude decompression where 15, 16 animals at a time were thrown into these crates and rolled into these high-altitude decompression chambers where all the oxygen was sucked out of their beautiful bodies. And that's what we were doing to these beautiful animals we all claim we love so much. And then the street gangs in New York back then were going through a phase to torture puppies and kittens, to hear them scream, to show they had no emotions. Well, I just couldn't take it. So I had a good offer from an insurance company. I was going to leave. I gave the A my 2 weeks' notice, but somebody had different plans for my life. 6 days before I was to leave, they came to me and they said, Mike, we have a dog hit by a car on Davidson Avenue in the Bronx. And I said, okay, let's get a driver out and get it. And they said, that's just it. We have no drivers available, and this little one is in really bad shape from the calls coming in. So I did just what any of your listening audience would have done if they were in my position. All I did was take off my suit jacket, put on a uniform jacket, and took the ambulance out myself. And when I got to Davidson Avenue, this little black and tan Shepherd Terrier mix looked just like Benji from the movies. He was laying in the street, and he was bent almost backwards in half. The car that hit him with such force, snapped his back, and just left him there to die. And when I got out of the ambulance and I'm standing above this little one, and he's shaking so badly from fear and pain, just as I'm about to reach down for him, that's when these three fellows came out of this apartment building doorway and said, "What do you think you're doing?" And I said, "It's obvious. This little one's dying. I'm taking this to the hospital." They said, "No, you're not taking it anywhere." I said, "Why? Is this your dog?" They said, "No, we're betting on how long it's going to live." Jeez. And I said, "Well, you guys are really sick." And I reached down, I scooped this little one up, and I'm holding him cradled in my arms, and he's shaking so vehemently I thought he was going to fall. So I just looked down at him, and he was staring into my eyes, just as he was staring into my soul, and he held me spellbound for those seconds in time. And his body just started to relax as if to say to me, "I feel safe now." And then just as I turned to reach for the ambulance door handle, that's when these three fellas beat me from behind, stabbed me, and laid me in the street. Now the roles are reversed. I'm the one lying dying in the street that day. But that's when I found the compassion that these beautiful pets have for us that we as human beings will never be able to emulate. We do not have that capacity. That little one had one more act of kindness to give mankind, and he blessed me with it. That little one that should not have been able to move by any shape of the imagination found a way to crawl to my side, and he started to lick me back to consciousness. He would not give up on me until I opened my eyes again. And when I opened my eyes and I was staring into those beautiful brown eyes one more time, and I started to realize what was taking place, I laid in that street and I cried and I prayed, "Don't do it. Don't take my life today. Give me another chance, and I promise you I'll devote my life to them." Well, seconds, not minutes, but seconds after I made that promise, my friend gently closed his eyes and crossed over Rainbow Bridge, and we will take our walk someday that was meant to be. But from that day to now, I have kept my promise. From that day to now, I have helped facilitate and saving more than 10 million pets. So I take what I do very seriously. It's what I live and breathe, and it's all because of that little one that day in the Bronx.
So
what a story.
We do this segment here, Mike, called the Hero Person of the Week, and I didn't want to tell you prior to the interview because I didn't know if you would come on with us, but you're our hero person for this week for all that you've done for the animals and continue to do for the animals, and you have a great event coming up. It's Remember Me Thursday, and another idea brainstorm of yours. Tell us about it and what's going on.
Well, I guess it was, I know exactly when it was. A year ago, September, we were having our annual international conference, and about 5 weeks before the conference, I was just reading, again, another one of the tabloids, stating how many millions of pets were going to lose their lives in this country this year and millions more around the world. And I got frustrated. I said, we are bringing these beautiful, magnificent animals down to be nothing more than a number and a statistic. We're forgetting how beautiful they are. We're forgetting that they were wonderful pets that wanted to give love to someone, and we have to bring it home. So I talked to my team, and at our conference, we gave everybody at the conference flameless candles to light a candle to let the orphans that didn't make it know that somebody did care. They didn't die in vain. Somebody did care. And to shine a light on orphans all over the world waiting for a chance to give somebody all the love that they have. Well, all I can tell you is this thing just went viral. Everybody jumped on it. Everybody was tweeting about it. Katherine Heigl, Ellen DeGeneres, Kristen Chenoweth. Everybody was just tweeting. 68 million retweets were done.
Wow.
Whoa.
139 countries actually came to the website remembermethursday.org. 82 countries around the world actually held some sort of candlelight vigil, lit candles in honor of orphan pets. It was the biggest thing that's ever happened that brought the whole world together for one common goal. So when we saw how big that was going to get, we said, okay, let's do this on the fourth Thursday of September every year. Now, this year, if you look on the website, remembermethursday.org, you'll see all the luminaries. Spokesperson of the year is Katherine Heigl. You'll see Kristen Chenoweth. You'll see David Backus, Athletes for Animals. He's the one that brought back some Sochi pups, and him and his wife created Athletes for Animals. You really need to talk to these wonderful people. They're just great, but they're all getting involved right now. We haven't even opened up the website yet for the lighting the candles, but there are almost 300 organizations and 14 countries involved. And if you read what they're doing in these other countries to bring attention to Remember Me Thursday, I'm telling you, it's just going to melt your heart. And try to read after we open it up. Tomorrow afternoon is when we open up where they're able to light a virtual candle. Try to read what people write. It's so inspiring. I can only get through about 300 of them of the 5,000 last year because I kept crying. I just couldn't do anymore. I mean, it's just beautiful. But when you read it from Sri Lanka, from Bosnia, from Thailand, from all of these countries, all caring and showing their love for pets, it will warm your hearts.
The website is remembermethursday.org. Check it out right now. Of course, links to everything you've heard on today's show over at animalradio.com. Our hero of the week, and an amazing man who continues to serve the animals, Mike Arms from the Helen Woodward Center in San Diego, California. Thank you so much, Mike, for joining us.
Thank you for all you do for animals, and you should be the heroes of the week.
This portion of Animal Radio is underwritten by Fear-Free Happy Homes. Don't forget you can get your fix of Animal Radio anytime you want with the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. It's made possible by Fear-Free Happy Homes, helping your pets live their happiest, healthiest, fullest lives at home, at the vet, and everywhere in between. Visit them at fearfreehappyhomes.com. Thanks Fear-Free for underwriting Animal Radio.
Hi, this is Paul Reiser, and you're listening to Animal Radio. Every minute you're here, you're not harming someone else. I don't know what that means. If it's usable, use it. Otherwise, cut it and get out.
Thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing. If you've written a book, they can help you through the process. Cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If they decide to publish your book, your work ends, theirs begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art. Plus, get your book printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble, and in bookstores across the country. They even help promote your book. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, or even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. And don't forget to ask about audiobooks. We do all of this for you. Call today for your free writer's guide packed with tips, tricks, and templates to help you finish what you started.
800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. That's 800-215-6815.
Coming up in just a few minutes, Joel Silverman. What color is your dog? He's written, he's the Hollywood trainer. Mm-hmm. He trains a lot of Hollywood dogs and actually trains dogs for the silver screen. Mm-hmm. So he has a book out called What Color is Your Dog?
And that's what he bases the training on, depending upon the color of your dog.
Not the color of their fur, though, right?
No. You have to read the book. It's not,
okay.
It's not their fur.
I don't understand. But
it's not like a brown dog's trained differently from a black dog.
He'll explain it to me later in easy Hal terms.
Yes.
And, Joey got sick last hour. I don't know if it was something from...
I don't know. He ran out of the studio.
I think he ate way too many chocolate eclairs. I brought those in this morning, bringing in just enough for everybody.
Sugar shock for all of us.
So hopefully he'll be back. We don't know. How many did you eat?
I didn't. I haven't had a chance. I've been too busy working, thank God.
Come to think of it, I'm not feeling very well.
Well, we got to get the show done.
Okay,
you can't leave.
Let's move. We got so much to do.
Yes, we do.
And let's yap with Bill. We have Dr. Debbie. This one's for you. Hey, Bill.
All right.
Hi. How y'all doing?
Great.
Good.
Great. Yes, I'm calling. I got two dogs. One's a Lab Beagle mix, 7 years old. The other one's a Shih Tzu Maltese mix. She's also 7 years old.
Okay.
My problem.
And what's going on?
Is, they both seem to be having something with their skin, You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The little Shih Tzu, she'll chew herself right raw toward her back end. And the lab doesn't chew herself raw, but she's constantly trying to bite herself, like in her rear. And she always wants me to, when I'm home, she always wants me to be scratching her rear end.
Okay. Kind of that special spot where you scratch and that back leg goes.
And the other thing is now on her belly, on the lab, on her belly, she's got a little bit of a growth there toward her back, like in her pit there on the one back leg.
Okay.
But then she's got like tags, skin tags, under both of her front legs. They don't seem to bother her. But it's this other, it's breaking out and this constant itch and carry on. And I called because the vet that I've used for 20 years just retired.
Oh, okay.
And the vets here, I live in upstate New York, and these people want $100 just to bring the dog in.
Okay. Wow. All right. Well, so have you tried any remedies as far as, at least with your previous veterinarian, to tackle this problem, or is this just a new onset of problem?
No, what I've been doing is I've been bathing them when I get home because I'm on the road all the time. But I bathe them, with a dog shampoo. And then I've been using hydrocodone spray. That seems
how's
to
that help?
It seems to help the itch a bit. Although the lab, it doesn't help her butt at all. She just goes nuts with that sometimes. And I remember the vet told me something about a gland just inside of her butt, and he said if you took and run your finger around that and cleaned it out or whatever, it would help. I'm scared to I'm quite hurt.
I don't blame you.
You know, it sounds quite unpleasant when we describe the anal gland expression process. But those glands are sitting, on either side of the anal area, and they definitely can cause problems where dogs will lick, scoot, drag their bottom, so that kind of thing. For the best health of your relationship with your dog, I recommend taking her either to a vet or a groomer and having that done. There are folks that do this at home, but, there's kind of that, what I call a breakdown in that bond. Like, really? You got to do that to me, Dad? It's just, but yeah, that would be definitely something simple to have addressed and taken a look at. Now, in the area where you're at, with having both dogs with these symptoms, I gotta say, vigilant flea control is going to be really very, very important. And even if you don't see fleas, you're in an area where I'd still worry about that. So if you haven't been using a regular product, I would consider using something, especially some of the different topicals that you can apply once a month. And one that we use pretty readily is Advantix 2, which has some nice sustained protection. You want to do that, but also make sure we're not missing some really serious medical problems. And it might be worthwhile to pick up that phone and call around and see if you can find a vet that's kind of more in your mindset and maybe your budget of what you want to have done. But I think it'll be real important to make sure these babies don't have something else going on, like other types of skin mites or an allergy or an infection that we need to be trying some different things. And the hydrocortisone spray is a great short-term fix, but if we really have a proven itch that continues despite that, then there's got to be some other ways that we get around that. And for me, I like to sample the skin. I like to look at what's on the surface of a critter. So sometimes even just for a vet to get their eyeballs on a pet, it can make a big difference in giving you that direction if continuing down what you're doing is right, or if we need to add in something else along the way. But as far as like the anal glands, gosh, any kind of butt scooting and licking, that would be, number one thing on my white glove test there. And Hal always laughs because I slap that white glove on quite a bit here in my office. But, these kind of gland things can be a real problem, and kind of a silent problem for many dogs where they may not even show symptoms. So, I think it'd be worthwhile to get these babies into the vet there.
Okay.
I appreciate your call today, Bill.
All right, thank you guys. I listen to you every Saturday. I wish you was on all the time.
So do we. Because we could buy yachts and mansions and all kinds of things if we were on all the time. Hey, listen, let us know if that works. If you have any problems, give us a call back. If you can't find a vet there, there's a good list over at animalradio.com. And shop around. Find a vet that you like and one that fits your budget. Let them know. Because it's hard economic times for all of us, They understand.
I like this vet that I had because he had racehorses.
He did?
Oh. Yeah, he owned racehorses, and I used to go up to his farm all the time, and that's how I became acquainted with him. But, because him and I both love horses so much. Horses and dogs.
Horses and dogs. What a good combination. Hey, thanks for listening.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. That's 800-215-6815.
Hi, this is John O'Hurley. You're listening to Animal Radio. And remember, most importantly, please spay or neuter.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Tammy Trujillo. Oklahoma State University is considered America's healthiest campus. Now it's launched the nation's first comprehensive full-time university-wide pet therapy program. 13 dogs are in the pet therapy pack, called Pete's Pet Posse. It's named after OSU's iconic school mascot, Pistol Pete. The program will help students, faculty, and staff deal with emotional and stressful situations like finals. Many studies have shown, of course, how animals can help reduce stress and lower blood pressure, triglycerides, and even cholesterol. Hill's Pet Nutrition recently won on its challenge in how Blue Buffalo markets its products and puts down its competitors. But it looks like Hill's got a little carried away with the victory. The National Advertising Division says Hill's went too far when it started promoting the win. It seems that Hill's PR department sent out so-called article starter kits to certain bloggers about Hill's products and included links to press releases and articles written about the Hill's Blue Buffalo dispute. Well, I'm pretty sure everybody involved in this situation had the best intentions, but I'm really glad this promotion stopped pretty much as soon as it started. A Pizza Hut in Australia has apologized for offering a free small animal with the purchase of 10 large pizzas. The deal was offered in connection with a local pet store. The corporate office at Pizza Hut says it had not approved the promotion and no animals were actually given away. I'm Tammy Trujillo. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
Hi, this is Tanya Tucker on Animal Radio. Love those pets.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too. I've heard of a Wonder Bra, but I wonder what Jill Nispel was thinking. The 35-year-old Floridian woman was recently arrested for stuffing her bra with a parrot. It was a rare green-winged parrot she stole from her employer, Baby Exotic Birds of Englewood. She then tried to trade the parrot for a vintage car. But when she told the car's owner about her bra stuffing technique, he called a good friend of his, who just happened to be the owner of the bird shop she stole the bird from. The parrot was valued at $2,000, and the bra stuffing bird snatcher was charged with grand theft. I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio. Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
It's Animal Radio. Don't forget you can ask your questions from the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android directly from the app. 2 ways to get your questions to Dr. Debbie or Dogfather Joey Villani. Let's head to the phones. We have Sherry on the phones. Hey, Sherry, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. How about you?
Good. What's going on in your world?
Well, I got a brand new puppy about 3 weeks ago, a teacup chihuahua.
Oh, wow. Little guy.
Yes, his name is Sophie. And I noticed after I'd had her for just a short time that the tips of her ears were curling backwards. And at first I thought it was really cute because it reminded me like the little pixie shoes. but now they're really turning backwards. And I did some research, and it said some things, but I want to double-check with you because I don't always believe what I read on the Internet.
Well, that's a good policy to have, definitely. You got to be a little skeptical.
You mean you're saying I shouldn't believe everything I see on the Internet? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No.
We do see this in some breeds of puppies where the ear tips curl kind of backward. And it's usually something that they will grow out of. Now, when I got to ask you, when you got her, were they standing erect at that point?
They almost were, and then within just about 5 days, they turned up again, and then and everything was fine. And then I just noticed just a real slight curl, and then now they're really curling. So I mess with them, I try to, and people say pin them and everything. If I pinned her ears, she'd be at them in a second. So I was like, no.
Yeah. And the honest truth is that in most dogs, this will return to normal. It may not be for many weeks or even several months, but usually by the time we're about 6 to 7 months old, especially if those ears have been up and you saw them go into that erect state at one point and they just kind of curl back after that, they're going to go back. You just got to give it time. Now, yes, you can do taping, and there are definitely oodles of resources that you can look at for taping, but normally Chihuahua ears do stand on their own, so we really don't have a lot of concern that we need to do that. If it is done, I have had people that I will just advise them to stick to something simple, like cutting a little bit of mole skin and kind of affixing that to the inside of the ear to give it a little bit of extra upright rigidity. But really, I mean, it's just an aesthetic thing, and it is kind of cute the way they curl backwards like that. So I would say enjoy the.
She weighs all of 1 pound and 2 ounces, and her ears are huge, and just curl backwards. It's the cutest thing in the world.
Yeah, I'd say enjoy the photos now because, the chances are they're going to get better. But, there's a lot of thoughts, in these young pups, if there's some kind of bodily inflammation going on, whether they be, they're cutting teeth or that they have some kind of that's the common thing you'll probably hear on the Internet is that, while they're losing their teeth, their ears. And I think it's just a timing thing. But there's also, I've even had dogs where we've had heavy worm infestations, and that's just an inflammation in the body. And, the ears kind of could be the thing. So as long as you've worked with your veterinarian, she's in good health, you're deworming her. Otherwise, I'd say just give it time and enjoy those baby's cute little ears.
Okay, I'll do that. Thanks you
for
so
your
much.
call.
Thanks for your call, Sherry. We appreciate it. And we go to Doris. Hi, Doris. How are you?
Hi. Okay.
Where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from Reading, Pennsylvania.
Reading, Pennsylvania. Lots of people.
Awesome.
You got a lot of animal lovers out there, don't you?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, what's going on? How can we help you?
Oh, my cat. She's 3 years old. Her name is Oreo. And she's not going to the bathroom.
Not peeing or not pooping?
Pooping.
Okay.
And she threw up twice. Once it was only a little bit. The next time it was a little bit more. And she's eating, but she's not eating a whole lot. Mm-hmm. And she drinks, but not a whole lot either.
And what has her stool been looking prior to this? What was it looking like?
Before all this, it was fine.
Okay. And how long has it been since she's not been pooping?
Oh, I guess it's about 3 weeks.
Holy crepe. Sorry, but that is not normal.
No. And
3 weeks without pooping?
People have said to me, give her mineral oil, give her cod liver oil, give her this, give her that. And she's been going in the litter box to try and go, but she just can't go.
Okay, Doris, there are few times on Animal Radio that I can sit here and say something, but you need to see a veterinarian with your cat, and you need to see him now. Uh-huh. The reason is that it is absolutely not normal at all for a cat to not poop for 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. Anything really beyond 3 to 4 days with no bowel movement is abnormal. And the problem becomes that when a dog or a cat doesn't poop for the longer periods of time, the colon is a very effective organ. Mm-hmm. And part of its job is to eliminate waste, but it's also to resorb fluid.
Yeah.
So the longer we don't poop, the drier the stools get.
Mm-hmm.
And this will be compounded if a pet is not doing well systemically and they're not drinking much, they become more dehydrated. So you get a horrible, horrible scenario where we are dehydrated internally as well as in the colon. And it's like having rocks in your colon.
Yeah.
So, and there is a specific syndrome in cats called megacolon. And it happens in which basically the colon just gets overly filled with stool, gets really dried out, things don't move through, and they can suffer a bowel rupture from that. Not to mention, the longer that goes on, the harder it is to correct and to ensure that we don't have relapses down the road. So that's why I can say you need to get that kitty to a vet. There's nothing I am going to recommend that you're going to be able to do to help your cat at this point. It's too far gone now. But when we do have cats that are mildly constipated, there are some things such as Miralax over the counter I will recommend. But if your cat's already 3 weeks, it's going to be wasting time and risking her life if we try something like that. And you did mention one thing. You mentioned mineral oil, which if I can encourage our listeners to not administer mineral oil as a constipation remedy. The reason is because it's a liquid, and dogs and cats can aspirate that and get that in their lungs, and it can cause a fatal pneumonitis. So an inflammation in the lungs and potentially infection in the lungs. So there are other forms and other types of stool softeners that we can use far more safely than mineral oil. Mineral oil is just cheap and available. That's why I think a lot of people turn to it. But please don't use that. And yes, we need to get your kitty to the vet, get an x-ray, and then probably get her on some fluids and see if we can help to eliminate the stool in the buildup in the colon.
I will call, and I will get her there.
Okay, please do. And then let us know how things turn out. I'm wishing your kitty all the best here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your call. Can we get the jingle singers in here? Thank you.
Go to your vet.
Thank you.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, this is Bob Barker on Animal Radio, reminding you to help control the pet population. Have your pets spayed or neutered.
Thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing. If you've written a book, they can help you through the process, cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If they decide to publish your book, your work ends, theirs begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art. Plus, get your book printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble, and in bookstores across the country. They even help promote your book. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, or even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. And don't forget to ask about audiobooks. We do all of this for you. Call today for your free writer's guide packed with tips, tricks, and templates to help you finish what you started.
800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. That's 800-215-6815.
Check out Animal Radio highlights. All the good stuff without the blah, blah, blah. Browse on over to animalradio.pet.
Hi, it's Alan Cable with another dog tip, probably the most important one of all. I have a big dog. He's 120 pounds. The other day when he was laying down all calm, my daughter went over to pet him and tried to put her face right near his. He growled at her. My dog was giving my daughter a warning. In the dog world, when you put your face in another dog's, it's very rude or it's interpreted as a threat. Same thing with a hug. Most dogs don't like them, but they can learn to tolerate them from you. However, that doesn't mean they're going to let a stranger do it. And you've got to be on the lookout for warning signs that a dog is getting ready to become aggressive. Now, a lot of people say, oh, it came out of nowhere. That's very rare. Dogs give lots of warning signs to folks and other dogs before they become aggressive. People usually just don't recognize them. You can tell when your dog is calm and relaxed and wants affection. And if you're watching, you can also tell when a dog is about to become aggressive. Since dogs live in groups and they can't talk, they use their body language and sounds to express themselves, communicate, and negotiate the interactions with you and other dogs. Now, a dog that shows aggression towards people usually gives significant warning signs first. He may become very rigid and still, growl at the person. He might actually punch the person with his nose, or lunge forward without any contact, Or show his teeth. Look at a dog's posture in his eyes. Do you see a big portion of the white part of his eye? Does his head look coiled like it's ready to strike? Now, if a dog owner's not watching carefully, he or she may miss the warning signs and think the dog's flown off the handle for no reason. This is very rare, but it can be just seconds between a warning and a bite. How many times have you heard people say, she's never done that to anyone before? Never acted like that. So what can you do? Number 1, don't let any stranger attempt to hug your dog. Dogs perceive that as a threat. And number 2, don't let anybody put their face right up in your dog's. Teach your kids never to do that to strange dogs. Teach your kids not to tower over a dog, but to crouch on the side of a dog, a couple of feet away, leaning in the opposite direction and looking forward or down, so the dog doesn't feel threatened or cornered. And just wait for the dog to say hi. Get more tips at animalradio.com.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Good thing I didn't become a singer, huh?
Yeah, keep your day job, Hal.
It's Animal Radio, celebrating our connections with our pets. That's my day job. Hey, Tracy.
Uh-huh.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I have Dr. Debbie right here. What's going on?
Oh, just wondering about my dog.
Tell us all the details. We know nothing. I know nothing. Nor does the dog.
Okay. Well, I've got he's getting ready to turn, he's 8 months old. He was in the veterinarian getting neutering, and we kept him there to get kind of mended up so we wouldn't have to confine him.
Okay.
He's a blue-nosed pit bull, and I just wondered, while he was there, he had broken his leg, his back leg, left leg, and I just wondered that they had to put 2 pins in his leg, and they're going to be there for the rest of his life. Will he eventually get arthritis in that, or?
Well, I'm a little intrigued. What happened to him as far as with the leg?
We really don't know. They had him out on a dog run.
Oh, okay. Well, dogs will be dogs. Sometimes things happen, definitely. Now, do you know what area of the leg that the fracture occurred?
In the thigh.
In the thigh bone. Okay. And as far as, was it something that the bone popped through the skin, or was it just kind of, it's underneath the skin? It didn't.
It was underneath the skin. They said that them type of dogs get that. Like, they can break them really easy if they jump.
Alrighty. Well, a lot depends on the outcome with fractures, depending on where the fracture's located, and definitely things like age are to your dog's benefit. Young dogs definitely have a better time healing with fractures, and if they got good pin placement and that went in there and put things back in alignment pretty well, if we can keep them quiet, that's also the big thing of post-operatively, is really, no matter how good they put pins in and fix a broken leg, the home care is probably 3/4 of the importance in making sure that he gets a good healing and a useful leg there. So if they got good placement and they felt good about those x-rays and there's no invasion into the joint area, then I would say I'd have every reasonable expectation that leg will heal well. But that being said, obviously something, you've got a pretty active guy on your hands there, so I would make sure we work really hard at keeping his activity post-operatively under control. So we want to limit jumping, make sure that he's not running around like a crazy man. Sometimes we'll use tranquilizers even to help kind of facilitate that if we got a really rambunctious fella.
Right. Well, they tried that, but ever since he's been home, he's actually got his appetite back, and I just was wondering if he'll get arthritis in that when he gets older.
Well, if it's in the middle of the bone, not likely. It's really if it gets close, if the fracture site is close to where any of the joints are, then we might have a little bit more concern with that. But if he heals up fine and there's no reason to remove those pins unless there's a problem or some kind of infection down the road. So he gets to keep that hardware as a little remembrance of his injury. So hopefully all sounds like it should turn out well on your end there. And poor little guy, my goodness. And blue-nosed pits are so adorable. They are some of the best looking pits out there, I gotta say.
Thank you. Yes, he's very cute. He's laying down right now while he's opening his eyes because he knows I'm talking about him.
Well, tell him Doc says to take it easy, heal up, and don't get into trouble with that leg anymore. Okay. Thank you so much for your call, Tracy, and hope all is on the mend there soon.
Well, we have run out of time, literally. My apologies to Joel Silverman. We'll catch you next week. I want to thank Mike Arms, Karen Zaxton, Ann Finney, and all of you for joining us this week. Check out Dr. Debbie's books, Yorkshire Terriers, How to Be Your Dog's Best Friends, Shih Tzus, How to Be Your Dog's Best Friends, Pugs, How to Be Your Dog's Best Friends, and Mini Schnauzers, How to Be Your Dog's Best Friends. All these great Kindle books over at Amazon, and of course links to them right from animalradio.com. Have yourself a great week. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Always a dogs, don't declaw.
This is Animal Radio
Network.